How's it going, everybody? My name is Avery, and today we're going to be creating a window using SDL2 and Go. The SDL2 binding for Go, it's right here. It's on GitHub. I'll have it linked in the description. For this video, we're only going to be covering how to create a window and how to draw a color or background onto it, and how to, do some keyboard input stuff so we can close the window as well. So for that, we're just going to be using this SDL, but they have everything else except for, they have everything like the font, the audio stuff, and the image stuff. They have it all, but we're just going to be using the plain SDL stuff for this video. So I guess if you want to get this yourself, it's going to be in the description, but you can do like a Go install or a Go clone and build it yourself. But we're just going to jump right here into project. Let's just call it SDL Window. And I'll just create the file itself. And in here, we can actually, in case you don't want to, at least from my understanding, if you're not going to install it using the Go clone or Go install or whatnot, you can just use the tidy command. So we can we'll just go in here, we'll just do SDL Window, that's the name of our package, and we'll do import. And we'll have this right here. And we're just going to want to import SDL, which is that right there. Yeah, we don't want this. So go mod tidy, and misspelled that. Now it's going to see that you're looking for this, and it's going to set it up. I already have mine, but there, did it. So that should be everything you're going to need for this video. Now we're going to create some variables, and in this video we're going to kind of make it so it's going to run within the same file. The main function is going to be in this file, but it's going to kind of be an SDL wrapper that you can use for any sort of other projects. You can just take this file and just move it around. All you need to do is just get rid of the main function that we're going to make. But in here, we're going to have a few things. We'll have our background color. A lot of stuff in SDL will be like SDL color, like that. But for the Go wrapping, or the Go binding, it's just going to be like that. And that's basically how it is for almost all the things. We'll have a title, and we'll make that a string, and we'll set that to SDL2 Window. And we can add the width, and that's going to be an N32, and we'll set that to 800. And let's just do the same for the height. Now in here, we're going to want to create our renderer, and like I said, it's just going to be like this, SDL renderer. We're going to want to make this a pointer to it, and then a window. And it will be SDL Window. We're also going to set up some stuff for the frame count, so you can kind of manage, make sure you can keep it at the similar frame rate, so you can set a frame rate for it in FPS. We're going to have frame count, timer FPS, last frame FPS, last time, and set FPS. I'll capitalize that. And those are going to be UN32. Here, actually, let's just do, that's last time, UN32. And this one will be set FPS. We'll do UN32 as well, but we're just going to set it right here. So set to 60. We'll have a mouse. So we can do the mouse stuff in this video. We'll have an SDL pointer for that. And we're going to have a mouse state. That's just going to keep track of the mouse clicks and whatnot. And the mouse state is going to be UN32 as well. And then key states. And the key states will be equal to SDL get keyboard state. That's just going to need to do every single frame, basically. But that's just going to set it to the type that it's already needing anyways. An event will be an SDL event. And it will have a running boolean, just so we can say the application or the game should be running, and whenever we want it to close, we'll just set it to close, and we'll set running to false. Then everything else from there will know that it needs to stop running. We'll just make this really simple function for setting a color, where you just pass in some variables, and it returns a color for that. So let's do SDL color, and so you kind of have to look through the documentation. Some stuff's different than the standard C++ SDL. Like this is uppercase. The same with like an SDL rect is going to be uppercase for the X and the Y and the width and the height. but we'll just have it like this. And I'm not the most familiar with Go. I'm still kind of learning it, so there might be like better ways of doing what I'm doing right now. If you know of a better way, go ahead and just share it in the comment section. The same with basically anything, if you guys think there could be an improvement on anything at all. But yeah, so this function is just going to pass in the arguments for the RGBA values, and it's going to return an SDL color based on those values. And in this video, we're only using that for the background, the window, and we don't even need to do this, but this is kind of just like an extra thing in case you guys want it. One thing I've noticed, I think in Go you can't have a function called init. I mean, I'm probably wrong about this, but because of that, just make it simple. We're going to be calling our function start, and this is just going to set up all the basic stuff for SDL. We'll do SDL set hint, and here, let me move this. Sorry, I don't know if the aligning works well with you guys, but hopefully you guys can see everything well. But in here, we'll do SDL hint render scale quality, and we'll set that to 0. And now we need to initialize some of the stuff. Do if error of SDL init everything, and then if the error isn't empty, it's going to need to check some stuff, and we'll just have a panic error. Here, I'm going to format some of this so we can kind of make it look a little bit nicer. Okay, so you can see this looks a lot nicer, at least for presenting it for you guys. And I'll try to keep to the same format now that it's like this. But now that we made our initialized everything, that's just what this has done. It's going to print out an error in case there's an error. We're going to want to go ahead and actually create our window and our render, initialize those, and check for any sort of error as well for those as well. Go has a function called defer, where basically I think it just waits till everything's done with that object or with that variable or whatever you're using, or until the end, and then it calls the function. So like we can do defer SDL quit like this. So now once everything's done, it's going to defer and check out everything that's called by defer, and it's going to run these. But we're not going to use this for this example. We're going to make a quit function, so that way we can have everything organized for what we need to quit. And in case there's other things that you want to defer, but you would want to quit at the end, we're just going to have those all at the end, just like that. But that's just to let you know. Now we're going to set our window and our error, and we'll do SDL create window, and let's go T, and we'll pass in the title, we'll pass in window position undefined, SDL window position undefined again, and the width and the height, and it'll be window shown. And this is just going to create a basic window, and then we can check for the error as well. If it doesn't equal nil, then it's going to, let's grab this. I guess I could have copied the whole thing, but now it's just going to, if there's an error, it's going to print it. Like I was saying, you can do defer, so we can do defer window destroy, but we're not going to do that just for this case. And now we're going to create our renderer. So we'll have an error as well right here. And now SDL create renderer. In case you guys don't know, this colon right here is setting this variable, because we don't know what variable type it is, but the colon figures out what variable type it should be. We're not doing it here because this variable, we're just reusing this one, so we don't need to recreate a new variable. I guess there's this one up here too. I don't know, maybe that's just in the if statement, but I don't know, either way, that's just let you guys know. But now in the create render, we're looking at our window -1 and SDL render accelerated, and then we're passing another flag for the render present vsync. And these flags are kind of just make it so some stuff displays a little bit better. I know I've had problems with flickering, and problems with frame rate, and problems with just kind of things not displaying correctly how I wanted them to. So this hint render scale quality and this accelerated and this VSync kind of just helps out with some of the stuff. It's not necessary, but it definitely helps out with any sort of problem. You guys probably won't even run into those problems just by having these things set up. So it's a little hard to explain. Plus I've had it like that for a long time, so I can't even remember exactly what it all fixed. But yeah, so it's just, once again, just checking for that. And like I said, you can do the defer, and it would be defer render.destroy, but we're gonna have that in a quit function, which we'll make in just a second. Now we're gonna set running to true. So once everything's started, running is going to become true. We'll make another one. Like I said, the whole point of this file is kind of become a wrapper, so you guys can create different windows for different things. And in this one, we'll be able to set the height and the width and the title. And like I said, this could be something that could be done better, like with the getters and setters. In Go, I'm just not familiar, so that's just how we're doing it for right now. Let me bring this up a little bit. And now we can make our quit function as well. Do func quit. Oh, yes, let me bring these up like this. Okay. Func quit, we'll do running equals false, in case it's not already false for whatever reason. Window destroy, render destroy, and SDL quit. And now in the future, if you want to do stuff with the mixer or stuff with the font, you could destroy that stuff here. If you have any other sort of memory stuff that you need to end off at the end of the game or the end of your application, you just do it right here in the function for quit, because that's just what you'll call after your main loop. And now we'll set up a function for our main loop itself. This will keep track of some of the frame stuff, and just it'll also call for checking the player's input. And so the frame stuff, I'm not going to explain all of it exactly, but we're just tracking, I guess we're going to get the current time from how long the window's been open. I don't think getTicks has the computer time. I think it's how long the window's been open. But either way, we're checking the time. And now if this last frame is greater than the last time, which we'll still be setting in the future by a second, then the last time equals last frame, FPS equals frame count, and frame count equals 0. So now we're just getting the FPS every single time here. We're still going to do a little bit more of these numbers, so it makes more sense. And right here, we'll call a function called input, and we'll be making that function. I'm not even sure if they need to be made in order. We'll run it and find out. But there's going to be the input function, and we're going to have a render function. We could have, I guess we'll have begin and an end render function. So you can call the begin render function, and then you can draw all the things you want to draw. Then afterwards, you can draw the end render function. So that way you can have a little bit more control over stuff. So we'll call this one begin render. Yeah, let's call it like that. And here, let me stretch this out a little more. Begin render, and here we're going to check some more of the FPS stuff and also draw the screen. Render, set draw color, and we have the background color, and just going to pass it in like this. We haven't actually set the background, but by default, any SDL color you're going to make is just going to be black. But we're going to be able to change that. Since we have that set color function, we can use that. And now we're going to want to clear the render. In case you wanted to draw everything to a surface or a texture, this is the begin and the end render functions are going to be making. It's kind of where you'd want to define those textures and set the render draw target to that. But in this video, we're not going to be covering that. But here we're going to do our frame count. Every single frame, we're just going to say that it's done one more frame. We'll do timer FPS equals SDL getTicks, and then minus the last frame. And now we kind of want to check to see if it's moving too fast or too slow, depending on the set FPS. And depending on that, we're going to want to delay it or not. So timer FPS is greater than 1,000. And here, move this a little bit again. Set FPS as such. And we're going to use SDL's delay function. So we're going to delay by timer FPS. We're going to delay it by 1000, set FPS. And just like that. And now we're going to want to render. We can kind of set a draw color, but this is something that you could also do if you wanted to have like a pen color. Like we have the background color, but you can make like a pen or a draw color and you can pass in that. But just for this, we're going to set it by 255. So after you call it begin render, it's going to draw the background. It's going to set the color to the background color. It's going to clear it, which is going to clear it with the background color, setting it to the background color, hypothetically. And then afterwards, it's going to set the draw color. So any sort of point or any sort of line or any sort of rectangle that you render after begin render, it's going to do it by the draw color. And if you want to change that, you can change it here, or you can just call the render set draw color at any point. And now we're going to have an end render. And like I said, if you wanted to swap out a texture to the render itself, this is where you could do that. But in this one, we're only just going to present the render. So it's just going to be like that. It's really basic. Now we can make our input function. That's going to be up here. The input stuff's just going to be covering, at least in this video, I'm just going to, if you can understand it, you can use it for basically anything, but we're just going to show how to close the window, basically. We'll get key states. That's what we did earlier as well, just when we created this variable. It'll get keyboard state. And for event, SDL pull event doesn't equal nil, event equals SDL pull event. So just like this, we're just checking for anything that could have happened, and we're using a switch, just like this. And in our switch, we'll have a case for the point of SDL quit event, and in here we're going to have it so it's going to be running equals false, and we're going to break from the switch. And then down here you can set some mouse stuff. So the mouse X, the mouse Y, and the mouse state will be equal to SDL get mouse state. Okay. And now I believe this is basically everything that we need for creating our window, along with a few other features. So you could just take this file and you can use this for any other project, but for this case we're going to be making a main function down here. So function main, and in our main function we just going to want to call start. That's going to initialize all the SDL stuff, and we can set our background. We'll do set color in 255, 255, 0, 255. I guess it's going to be yellow. And then for running, and then down here we'll do quit as well. And in here we're going to want to call our loop function. You just want to call that at the beginning of every loop. And then we can do the begin render, the end render, and I guess we can also check for like for an example for the keyboard input. We do if key states SDL scan code escape doesn't equal 0, so I guess that means it was clicked. We're just going to want to set running to false as well. Do that right there. So this is right here is where you actually want to draw stuff. I guess we can so this one I think we're going to use render, and it will be, I might have to check this one. We might have to check it real quick. It's going to be draw rect. I guess I don't want to cover all this stuff in this video, but basically, I mean, you just do the draw rect, and this is where it's going to draw it. You just need to have a rectangle and whatnot, but I feel like we've already covered a lot of stuff, but this is where you would do that. But now we can go and actually, I'll format that again, but you can go run it or build it, either way, and command line argument is not a main package. Oh, that's a good point. Okay, go mod init main, remove go.mod, go mod tidy. So I guess, like I said, I'm not super familiar with Go, with all the aspects of it, so maybe this is one of the things that could be fixed a little bit better. Since we're having the main init, we need the main package. Oh yeah, go run. Undefined render. Okay, that's probably supposed to be render. Okay, yeah, render right here. And bam, we have our 800 by 800 yellow window, just like this. You click the escape, it'll close. And if you click out on this little right here, this little X, it'll close as well. That's all the basics to it. Hopefully this video is useful for anyone that wants to be using Go and SDL2 for creating an application or creating a game or anything of the such sort. Yeah, you can go ahead and you can set this start. What did we call this? Start set, and you can set other things to it, like start set hello and 300 by 300. We'll just change this color. It's like this, and then go run. And here, this is our new window. It's just like that. It's super basic. I think this video should cover everything that you need to know for creating a window. If you guys are interested, I can make another video, a follow-up to this one, where we can cover image stuff, some more drawing things. Like I said, I wasn't covering this video, along with some font stuff, so you can be able to render like just rectangles, render dots and lines, rendering images, altering some of the images, and rendering font and writing to your window. So if you guys are interested in that, just leave in the comments and like the video, so I know you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm using this Go SDL2 binding to work on a Terraria clone. So if you guys are interested in learning more on how to use all these features, in the next week or so, I can come out with a single video. We're going to be making a whole entire Terraria clone using Go and SDL2. So make sure to subscribe if you guys are interested in that, and see you guys again next time.